Hello and welcome back to another episode of Taking Back Saturday, a Happy Buyers Club podcast where we break down the real estate market each and every Friday and help home buyers build confidence, follow a process, and hopefully buy really well. I'm your host, Chayse Jones, and joining me, as he does every week and every day, my mate, Sam Hunter. How are you, Sam?
Morning, Chayse. Hello, listeners. Sorry if you heard me laugh during Chase's very professional introduction. My mum just sent me a text message asking where she can find the Mulan soundtrack to listen to. So everything has gone off at my house this morning.
The dramas of being a grandma looking after kids on a morning of mayhem.
Especially when your kid is addicted to Disney soundtracks.
Yeah,
better than watching the movie, I guess.
Hey, I hope that for everyone out there knows that we do this in one take. It happens from the go, regardless of Mulan dramas or not.
You can never accuse us of being anything other than authentic.
Exactly right. Cracking week for us here at Happy Buyers Club. I feel like the topic for today, we'd be remiss to not speak of how it feels out in the market these days. I think a lot of people are feeling this, that when they're finding suitable properties, that there's a lot of offers being placed on those particular properties. And I think a lot of that comes back to that there's a lot of crap properties on the market at the moment. Sorry to those that have properties listed at the moment that might fall into that category. But realistically, good stock is hard to come by. And when it is being found and it's ticking all the boxes or enough boxes for people to offer on, they're finding themselves in a position where they could be one of 10, one of 15 offers on a property, which invariably means that there's a lot of people missing out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a comment that we had from a client of ours this week has been that it feels like the market's almost slowed down, and we sort of not corrected them, but just let them know that there is a reasonable amount of property, still less than traditionally if you look back at the market over 10 years, but certainly on par with the last couple of years. There's still new listings coming to market every single week that are properly marketed, that have motivated sellers. They probably just aren't even 7 out of 10 properties. And we spoke last week about key dates through the year being when a new tranche of buyers tend to enter the market. Easter being one of those dates. And while there's properties out there for people, all those new buyers are looking for the perfect home. And realistically, in any suburb, I would say once a month, there's a property that everyone wants to buy. And then there's probably between 5 and 7 at the moment. Usually you would expect there to be between 10 and 15 others that are listed that someone will buy. Very little is actually sitting there not selling. It's a bit like that at the moment. We bought a property last week where we were one of 22 offers. The property was on the market for a week. There were 3 open homes during that week. The agent ran a really solid campaign. The way we described it to him was it's one of those homes that comes up in Holland Park every 6 months.
A certified banger.
And everybody attacks it. It's got a great building and pest. It's got, an owner for a really long time who's meticulously taken care of the property. It had just enough of a renovation where it had the extra bathroom, it had the walk-in wardrobe, it had the back deck, it had a block that didn't have any challenges with it. So it was one that everybody saw and they were like, I'd love to live there. I'm going to go and have a look at it. And there would have been 250 groups of people that went through that house in a week. From that came 22 offers. And fortunately, we were the party that bought it, which was great. What that means, though, is that
there's 21 people that
there's 21 other people that are licking their wounds a little bit, feeling like the market is against them, feeling a bit defeated. And so we wanted to have a conversation around what do you do if you miss out? And how do you actually put yourself in a position to buy immediately after you miss out? Obviously, it depends on whether a property comes along that suits your needs, whether it's on or off market. There are certainly steps that you can take that will give you the opportunity to have those conversations with real estate agents ahead of, if you're one of those 21 that missed out, or you're one of the 250 people that came through the house and you're like, this is great, but I don't want to get in a bidding war, and that freaked you out a little bit. What can you do to make sure that you are in pole position? What can you do to give yourself the best chance at being the one that does buy the next time that certified banger comes around, rather than being somebody who is making another offer expecting the worst?
Well, I think for a lot of people who go through the process of offering on a property, and this applies to everybody, I guarantee it, us included as buyer's agents, it's an extremely emotional thing, putting forward an offer, waiting to hear what the decision on that offer is, and then even hearing the decision on that offer. And it's an extremely emotional experience. And for those that don't get the call to say, hey, your offer's been accepted, you're getting the other call where it has not been accepted. Think of it as battle hardening. You have gone through the process. You have taken the appropriate steps to offer, and almost the next time round, you should be better for the running. Almost like you can't win a grand final until you've lost one. Yep. I know that's a ridiculous saying, and a lot of people do buy the first house that they offer on. But if you can take that mentality away from it, that you've experienced what placing an offer feels like, gone through those motions and be like, what can I learn from this? And what steps can I now take to make sure that next time I'm getting the other call?
Absolutely. And this comes back to why we suggest that people go and attend auctions, even if you have no intention of buying the property, because it does steel you for that circumstance where you find yourself bidding an auction, or you find yourself in a position where you've got to make an offer in a less than transparent scenario to give yourself every opportunity to go and buy that property. Missing out on a house is a bit like, 5 stages of grief. There's denial, like, I can't believe somebody paid that much money. We would never have paid that. When reality is, maybe you would have, right? Maybe you didn't have that conversation of what is our absolute walkaway price. There's anger. The agent picked them because they had a relationship, whatever it might have been, right? There's bargaining. That's when usually you pick up the phone. You're like, we'll give you more money. Contract's already signed. And then you get through like the depression of, we're never going to buy a house. I promise you, if you're listening to this and you haven't missed out on a property yet, if you do, it will feel like you're never going to buy a house. There's always another one. There will always be another property. It doesn't matter if it's next week, next month, 6 months later. There will be a property that comes up that you go, oh, that's better than Smith Street or whatever it was. Let's go and buy that. And ideally, you've steeled yourself. You understand a little bit more about the process. You understand a little bit more about emotional management. You understand that maybe you do need to pay a little bit more to get the house. We always say on the show, the house is the wind, right? It is a rising market at the moment. If you're looking at comparable sales from 4 months ago, basing your offer off that, chances are it's moved by 4%. And if you've got 22 offers, it's not 4%, it's probably 14%. And you've got to really decide, can we afford it? Do we want to buy it? And what's the price we're willing to lose it for? And that's what you write down on that piece of paper.
And there it is, the 5th stage, acceptance.
That's it. So I think, when you go through those stages, and ideally you go through those stages in a couple of days, not a couple of weeks, because most of the time when a really good one sells, another one comes on. Because a seller, just like that person, sees that result or is ideally spoken to about that result by the agent who got it. And that is the motivation or the catalyst that they need to make a decision to sell themselves. And it's the people who made those offers on the first one who missed out who get the first opportunity in the next one. So you've got to just make it known to the agent, hey, we missed out. It is what it is. Congratulations to those buyers. I want the next one. Who are you talking to that has a house just like this? Because you've already got the contract that we probably put on that one if you find us another one. And you know it's a great price.
Yeah, so keeping tight with the agent of the particular property that you've missed out on, that's a given. Mm-hmm. You've already you've gone into battle with them, not with them, but, essentially they know your circumstances. They know how keen you are. And exactly right. Are any of those 200 people that came through that open home, were any of them nosy neighbours that all of a sudden are like, wow, okay,
that was good.
Where next? Because guess what? The next house next door is probably just as good, if not better. So keep that in mind. Stay close with that agent. Start communicating your story of missing out to other agents that work in that area. You don't have to give them the details of your offer, particularly, the number that you wrote down that you missed out on, but giving them the details of the property and hey, we missed out. We are keen and we are ready to move now. That's an extremely important part of uncovering the next one.
The thing about those, once in a quarter or once in 6 month properties is all the other local agents at Devo, they missed out on that opportunity as well. So they'll be calling everybody in their database that has a house like that. And they'll be telling them the result, hoping that the agent that actually got it isn't doing that sort of groundwork. And so definitely keep tight with the agent that you made the offer to and you missed out on. They have a little bit of a distinct advantage in the next negotiation because they know potentially what you can afford. They certainly know what you're prepared to offer and the terms that you can offer and everything like that. If you're able to sharpen that pencil a little bit, it will put you in a better position. The other agents don't know any of that detail. They just know that you missed out on 123 Smith Street and you were one of X number of offers and you want that property. And chances are you'll be prepared to pay more if it was a better home or comparable if it was comparable. Just having that conversation. And we always talk about being really forthright with agents. And I think where a lot of buyers find frustration is they hold too much back. You don't need to tell them everything, but you certainly do need to make it known that you are better than motivated, more than active, like absolutely ready to buy today. And you want to know everything and everything. It does take some work.
Definitely.
It does take some persistence. Real estate agents, I would say if you called 10, expect a call back from 3. Keep calling the other 7 because they might have something that you want. And if you can just have that early advantage, it will make a big difference into getting you into that house.
Yeah. When you're communicating with agents, don't be disheartened if you can't reach someone. They are busy. They're doing their own follow-ups. Mm-hmm. It can be as simple as leave the voicemail, follow it up with a text. So in case they don't have your number saved in the phone, you are identifying yourself, being like, hi, I am blah, blah. We met at this place and I want to talk to you about this. You will have to probably dedicate a fair amount of your spare time to this process.
I think we always say to people, we take on 5 clients at a time, and that's because talking to enough real estate agents every day for 5 clients is a full day's work. Genuinely, it is. If you're just looking for yourself, it's probably an hour a day that you will have to dedicate to market research, speaking to agents, talking to your mortgage broker. Another reason, again, we're not big on tooting our own horn, but our conditions made as much of a difference in buying this place last week than our price did. And that was because we had multiple conversations with our client's mortgage broker about making that offer as airtight as possible. So if you've just missed out, the first call is the agent you missed out on. The next 15 are to the other local agents there.
What else have you got?
What have you got? The 16th call, maybe the second call before those others, is to your mortgage broker to say, how do I improve this? Hey, I offered on this property. These were my terms. This was my offer. How do I improve these terms? How do I get my offer as airtight as possible? Because when the next one comes along, and it will, conditions are everything. And making that offer as airtight as possible will make a difference in you being the one that doesn't miss out and don't have to listen to this podcast week after week after week.
So you're battle hardened. You've gone through the process, but you're like, how am I going to be better in the next battle? And that is right down to those things. It's on conditions. It's, hey, if I would squeeze a little bit more money on my next offer, can I make that possible? Great conversations to have with the right people. And the right people, hey, listen, if it all continues to go pear-shaped and the prospect, the reality of calling that many agents a day is not for you, you can always call us at Happy Buyers Club. Ahead of the weekend, Sam, have you got a tip for our buyers out there?
I'm going to give you what we do on every single viewing, even if we're there with clients, and that's take a video of every home you inspect. It gives you the opportunity to have your own private open home and just to look at things that maybe you would have missed. When you've got a phone in your hand, and I know we said this in the podcast before, but I'll say it again, like landscape, 0.5 zoom, gives you a really wide view of everything. When that phone's in your hand, you're looking at a house in more detail than when it's not, and give yourself like almost a walking commentary of what it is that you're looking at, because it takes you out of the moment of I'm in an open home with 30 other people or 5 other people. It doesn't matter, right? And you're like, oh, the cornices are leaking. That roof's saggy. Looks like there's been some solid debt. There's some issues with the gutter. We saw a place on the weekend where there was a stormwater pipe that just ran out down the side of the house, which would have caused some massive issues. You'll forget that stuff when you're house blind and you've seen 10 by the end of your Saturday. So as soon as you get there, do a hot lap, then go back to the start or to the end of the property, pull your phone out, landscape, 0.5 zoom, and walk through and commentate that home to yourself. That will just make a big difference into how you're able to judge a home. And it is a bit like judging a home. And if you like something, you've got the option to go back, pause, look at more things. The feedback that you're going to be able to offer an agent, or when you are thinking about making an offer, being like, actually, that roof does say. And, we've seen a building a pest, but it didn't mention that, but we saw it. So actually, we do want to get our own, rather than just relying on the one that an agent may or may not have provided. So yeah, it's going to make a difference into allowing you to make an educated decision on whether you want to take the next step on a property or not.
100%. I love the commentary, because it's something that we obviously do when we walk through any property. We are videoing everything and speaking through it, because it adds a layer of context to the video, and it also will spark something in your memory. If you've inspected 6 properties on a day, going back and watching it with the visual, the audible cues as well, is going to be really helpful. And what you should be doing is inspecting every property the exact same way. So if you're getting into a bit of a habit or a routine of doing the hot lap and then going back through and starting in a certain place and finishing back at that same place every single time, it'll make sure that you're not missing anything. So definitely love that tip, Sam. Guys, that is Taking Back Saturday. He's Sam. I'm Chase. Cue the song.